Yeah, so I like Wicked reports. I used to like NordBeam a lot, but NordBeam went enterprise level. So unless you're spending $1 million a month, it doesn't really apply to you anymore.
It's basically talking about you were talking about a smarter way to spend your Google Ads budget. Instead of spending lots of money showing ads repeatedly to the same person, you suggested spending less per person to reach more people. So if someone clicks the ad, there's already 70% chance that they'll come back to buy on their own. The question is, direct channel is the bane of our existence. How do you know you're losing 70% of first click paid search channel to your direct channel? And the second one is, what tools to use for multi-touch attribution?
Yeah, so I like Wicked reports. I used to like NordBeam a lot, but NordBeam went enterprise level. So unless you're spending $1 million a month, it doesn't really apply to you anymore. So I like Wicked reports now just because it's for small to medium-sized businesses. But if you're seeing more than like 15% direct, that is what you're losing. And let's say GA4, if it's 70%, anything over 55% basically, or that 55% of that activity is attributed to some previous touch point, and it does not matter which one. Direct is only indicative of saying we saw someone type in the URL perfectly and arrive and never click on any ad or organic listing. So when you see direct, typically what ends up happening is someone types in the URL and it auto completes because they've been there before in the browser. So if you're always on Nike shoes, you go to Google and you type in N, and it's like Nike.com. You're like, yeah, that's what I was trying to go. That's a direct visit, which means you've been there before. So when you see that amount, that typically means that when it's over 15%, because it is plausible for a good amount of like normal traffic to be coming back. But if you're seeing 70% of your overall, that means that probably more than half your website traffic is returning. And it could be from 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 years ago from where they originally started. So that means that, in my opinion, I like Wicked reports because when it's been installed, from that point on, you can reattribute direct traffic back to the original source. But right now, you can't go retroactively to find out where that came from originally because it wasn't tracked properly back then anyway, because it potentially was GA4, which is nothing but a big old dumpster fire. Especially if your account is any sort of historical performance. So if you have any sort of historical spend, historical visits, all that stuff from UA to GA4 was basically reset. And that's why now you're like, I have no idea where these people originally came from.
Take your company revenue divided by your ad spend. Think of ROAS for all your ad spend because your top conversion paths are going to go through 500 different paths for conversions. You'll be able to watch this. It'll all become very clear. Client one, 6x to 10x in 1 month when we couldn't hit 1x before because we let Google target. It says this person's going to buy and they may be right, but I don't want to spend $20,000,